All right, guten Morgen, Klasse. We're going to go over the instructions for number 1 on activity board number 8. New to cycle 8 are specific due dates. So you'll see underneath the activities as these start filling out, sooner due dates than the end of the cycle. Reason being, as you can imagine, many students were waiting, not all of them, but many students were waiting until the end of the cycle or after the cycle to even begin some of the assignments. So to alleviate that or help alleviate that, I'll be putting due dates underneath, and there'll be much sooner due dates. This activity is a little bit more involved, so the due date is next Friday. There will be a GIM kit, and if it's another smaller activity, that you might see a sooner due date than that 226. But in any case, please remember to navigate to any assignments and cycles from the Bitmoji screen. That's the way this course is set up. Very different from probably most or the rest of your classes. So you should access everything for German from the Bitmoji screen and then from the activity boards. All right, so cycle 7, if you need to do missing assignments, you'll access from over on the right side under past due cycles, and cycle 8 is now current. So you click on that. Again, so far we just have the one activity for now, and you'll click on that. Nummer 1, Padlet, Klassenflaschkarten, Aktivität. So for those students who decided to participate in the Padlet flashcards, that is what I used. So the class set of flashcards for this activity, and you'll see names with group documents. So Max, Tim, and Clyde Wilhelm, I'll change that. You'll see this, Clyde and Tim or Aaron Testa will see this in their Schoology class, the same thing. But the document goes to the same exact Kami document. It's not connected to Schoology specifically, just the link is here in Schoology. So we'll use that for an example, and you'll click on that. That'll take you to a collaborative document that you'll all be working on, whether or not it's in real time at the same time or separate times. You all have access to this document. So the idea with these group documents and group activities is that you all contribute. So if one of you gets on there, don't go crazy and do everything for the assignment. We want everybody to participate. So you'll see the flashcards that you guys created. I did change some of the sentences a little bit just so that I could have a variety of subject pronouns and a variety of verbs corresponding to those subject pronouns. Subject pronouns, of course, are the I, you, he, she, it, we, you, all, and they, or auf Deutsch, ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, and sie. And so I wanted to get a larger variety than the submissions we got on the Padlet so that we can use it for our activity. So I want you to go through these, read the sentences, look at the pictures, try to understand as best you can what's going on without using a dictionary. And then when you're finished looking at them, there are written instructions here. Of course, I'm giving you instructions now, and then for those of you that are e-learners, you'll also be able to click on the instructional video. But they are listed here if you need them. And so the first part of this is to highlight the subject and verbs. So when we organize grammatical patterns in another language in a variety of ways, we are making connections in our brain, and we're more easily able to commit that information to our long-term memory, which is why we do these different types of activities with the same set of grammatical patterns. Grammatical patterns in this case being subject and verb agreement. All right, so what do I mean by that? Ich gehe nach Hause is I go home. When you have ich, first person singular, you will always have an e ending at the end of the verb. Doesn't matter what verb it is, you'll always see that e ending. And that's what I mean by subject verb agreement. And so that's why you'll see that wir lieben es Baseball zu spielen. You see a different verb ending because wir, of course, means we, different subject pronoun, first person plural, whereas ich gehe is first person singular. So highlight those, and to do that, you'll come to the markup, click on the box. I like to use the box highlighter, but of course you can use a regular highlighter if you prefer. And I don't care what colors you use a different color for the subject pronouns, a different color for verbs, but I want you to stick with those two colors after you choose them. So if one of you chooses two colors, the other two, when you get on there and start the assignment, please use the same colors that they use. So if you don't see it on your color palette, you might have to come down here and find the color. If it's not exact, it's okay. Just try to get close to it. And you can change the colors by clicking on it. And don't get confused. You still have to go click on that color after you put it in your palette. So let's use light blue for our example. And we'll do this sentence. So the subject pronoun, of course, is ich. And I'm going to click at the top left of ich and then drag down to the bottom right and let go. So I've highlighted my subject pronoun ich. Then ich werde am nächsten gelb benutzen. We'll use yellow for the next one. And I'm going to highlight gehe, or my verb. So that's the first part. Go through all these flashcards again. Do a few of them and give your partners a chance to do some of them also. Collaborate on this document. And you'll finish all the flashcards highlighting the subjects and the verbs. Let's see if we can get rid of these so they don't show up on your document and you can do the work. And then after that, I want you to begin to fill out these graphic organizers as a group. So the first one is simple. All you're doing is taking those subjects and verbs that you highlighted and organizing them on the left and right side. On the left, I want you to put the subject pronouns, the ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie, and on the right, the verbs. But I want you to put the verbs as you see them. And so if you even want to get more fancy and organize it even better, I would put the verbs that match the subject pronoun on the left side by side in that graphic organizer. All right, so if you have wir, then you would have a verb that ends in en on the right side because that would be a subject and a verb that agrees. So list all those, split those up between the group. And then down here you have a verb conjugation chart. Some of you have seen it before. Last year we went over the verb conjugation chart. And so this is organizing first, second, and third person in the singular form and the plural form. So what do I mean by that? I, you, he, she, it is first person, second person, third person. Ich, du, er, sie, es. And then down here, plural, we, you, all, and they, wir, ihr, and sie, for plural. We, I just said you, all, and they. So try to do that as best you can. We have done this before. I'm hoping that you're a little familiar with first, second, and third person, so you can think to yourself, okay, what is first, second, third person in English? Let me translate that into German. Look at the flashcards up here and try to match them appropriately in the graphic organizer. And then the verbs, I want the verbs that agree with those subjects on the right side. So here you do need to put the subject-verb agreement side by side. So if I have ich, in the first person singular, I'll look for, okay, I see gehe. I see gehe again. Do we have anything besides that? Ich komme. So you have two choices, ich komme or ich gehe for that first row. And then start filling in the rest of that with the rest of the second, third person, and then the plurals. And then the last part, I want you each to write a novel sentence. So you can use you should use the subjects and the verbs. You can use different verbs that you don't see in those flashcards. If you do, I prefer you to use verbs that you know from past assignments. If you want to use a brand new verb, it's okay, but I prefer if you use a singular dictionary, meaning don't use Google Translate and translate an entire sentence. You could use leo.org or leo.org. And that's in the resources. That's on the Bitmoji Classroom under German Dictionary. And so it'll translate word for word. And you're learning that way by just getting the definition for one word and not trying to translate an entire sentence. My analogy is the difference between using a map to find something, to find your way from point A to point B, or using GPS. All right, using a map, would be using your brain functioning in a higher way, just like you would use a word for word dictionary when you're looking up words, or using GPS and just mindlessly following the arrows and the person telling you which way to go would be similar to using Google Translate and translating that entire sentence or paragraph. I don't remember if I'm going somewhere new and I go there a second or third time, I can barely remember how to get there if I use GPS. Before GPS, when I used maps to find my way, I could remember much more easily. So same thing with Google Translate and then word to word dictionaries. And then the third part, when you're done the group part of this assignment, is to open up the assignment with Cami. The document is the same document. You're taking all the information you gathered in the group document and transferring that onto your own individual document and organizing it how you would like to have it organized, writing your own sentences. And when you're finished that, I want you to do two things. One is going to be first to download it to your German folder in your Google Drive. So click download, Google Drive with annotations. You can rename it if you want. I like to take that Cami export away. Flatten annotations, and then select the folder and find your German folder. Click on that. Download the doc to your German folder, and then of course turn it in with Cami. And then you're done. Are there any questions about that? All right, if there's no questions, I'm going to end this video and hope that it doesn't delete like my other ones deleted.